Good morning, Nigeria. A brand new day calls for a brand new energy. And right here on Dominion Television, we serve it hot and hot. They call it La Hot on the street. This is Daybreak Live. And of course, today's Thursday, the 20th of November, 2025. And I am Samson Balogun, navigating today's ride through the stories shaping the pulse of our nation.
Definitely. And I'm Oluwayemi Adelako. It's so nice to be part of this production this morning. Whether you're rising with the sun, settling into work, or tuning in from the comfort of your home, we're here to deliver clarity, context, and the conversations that matter. It's another morning where facts meet insight, and insight sparks understanding.
Right. We'll begin this morning with a political tremor shaking the opposition. INEC has rejected Abdurrahman Mohammed as the acting chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, sparking renewed tension, the party already struggling to navigate its internal fractures. What does this mean for the party's coalition? Who truly holds the reins, and of course, in the PDP, and how does this shape the opposition's readiness ahead of 2027? We'll break it down, of course, to the background this morning, the implications and the fresh reactions emerging from the corridors of power.
Definitely, we are going to do all of that. And after that, we give you the weather updates and then dive into Daybreak News, a crisp, reliable tour through the top stories from across Nigeria and around the world. Then we flip the papers for our newspaper review and analysis, where the big headlines meet sharper interpretation. And this morning, Lagos Shobowale, seasoned public affairs analyst and journalist, is our guest on that one.
And talking about that, today's big story takes us into one of the darkest evolutions of Nigeria's security challenge. Ransom as an industry, how kidnapping became a lucrative economy in the country.
Definitely. From remote enclaves to bustling city outskirts, kidnapping has transformed into a billion-naira criminal enterprise, complete with negotiations, brokers, financiers, and networks that operate with chilling efficiency. How did we get here? Is a big question to ask. How did ransom payments turn into a parallel economy, and what is the government missing in its strategy?
To dig deep into this disturbing industry, we'll be joined by someone who has studied these patterns for years, Dr. Kunle Okunla, seasoned public affairs analyst and a security expert. He will help us trace the roots, interrogate the present, and forecast the security curve ahead of us in Nigeria.
Yes, and of course we run things over trend watch spotlighting everything buzzing online, sparking conversations and shaping public sentiment nationwide.
Whether you are watching from whatever you are watching from, settle in, and this is your morning companion for depth, clarity, and perspective.
Yes, you're tuned into Daybreak Live this morning. Welcome on board. Let's get started.
And we shall get started.
Yeah, I love the way you pronounce "ot" in the beginning. I hear the sound.
Well, probably because before I came in, I had hot coffee, so maybe, just maybe, that was why it was kind of.
I'll have mine after the show.
Maybe. You know, on the street they will say "la hot," and so as it is hot, we'll bring it to the table and we'll discuss it. Hot. So this one is very hot anyway. INEC has rejected Abdurrahman Mohammed as PDP acting chairman. Before we dive into this, Yemi, good morning to you.
Good morning, Samson.
Good to have you on the
good
show.
to have you, yeah.
All right, and this is a big question. Where exactly is the PDP heading to as a political party in Nigeria? And we talked about further disintegration just after the convention that was held in Ibadan just last weekend. And we were like, okay, if you had this convention and there's still a faction of the party still being recognized by INEC, then there will be a problem. If you check the INEC website as we speak, it is still Ayahu and Ili Adamago as the chairman and the secretary of the party respectively. And the problem now is that the pro-Wike faction, they are saying, look, we have Abdurrahman Mohammed as our acting chairman since we have suspended Ili Adamago, and then Ayawu remains the secretary. So there's a faction on the hand. And for the other faction, they are having a new chairman in Turaki, and of course our Oyo State own former deputy governor in Oyo State also being the secretary of the party. Then the question is, until when will it be totally resolved? Would there ever be a time when the PDP will come together as a political party and say, look, let's forge ahead, let's settle our differences? Will these differences ever be settled? Are we in for a loggerhead, back-to-back court cases until 2027? That's the big question there for PDP.
It's really sad, though, that PDP is in this state. I don't think PDP has ever had it this bad, honestly. Even 2022, 2023, when the old...
It was not this bad. They only had the G5 governors moving out of the party, and then the structure still remained the way it was.
Honestly.
But unfortunately, after some of the G5 governors came back.
The G5 was scattered, though.
I mean...
I don't know, because I watched a video when the whole problem happened, the tension happened at Wadata Plaza. One of the G5 members, that's Samuel Otom, he was sent out
embarrassed.
Of the governor.
They were saying, Chairman, this is not your PDP, get out of here.
Was sent out
of without complaining, without saying a word, he walked away.
No, self-respect sometimes, and then sometimes you might want to talk, but then because of self-respect, you just leave. So it's sad that PDP is in this state. There was a time that some analysts described PDP as the best political party in the whole of Africa.
Because of their internal democracy.
Honestly, and the national outlook. After the old civil war and everything, the PDP came in with a national outlook, strong grassroots presence, ruled Nigeria for a whole 16 years. There was a time that PDP had what APC is enjoying now. PDP was in that state before. They had about 28 governors in the party. Now it's sad that PDP is in this state. And there's one thing I want us to talk about, because Ayawu faction, they came out to say that PDP, they had, as far as it's concerned, what they had in Ibadan was like a Christmas carol, maybe a jamboree. They just wanted to spend money. And because of that, he said that INEC was not present, and of course, INEC will not recognize the new chairman. But I beg to differ. With the way it is going now, INEC might recognize Turaki as the standard chairman of that political party, because they are saying that they will not accept the letter sent by Ayawu and then signed by him and then Abdurrahman. So it's sad. At the end of the day, these two factions will not help each other, because one will always sabotage the other, the way the matter is going now. But then there are scapegoats in all of this. And who are the scapegoats? The governors that will contest for second-term election. Talk about Adeleke. Talk about
He's already is in a lot of mess as it stands.
Honestly.
And some people are saying in some quarters that he's already negotiating his way out of the party, maybe scheming to see if he can get the ticket with the ADC.
Abgat, right? Abgat a point.
I mean, it's gotten so bad that he needs a party, he needs a platform at all costs, because who is going to sign his form? And that's a problem. The chairman has to sign, the secretary has to sign. So who are they going to recognize as the chairman and secretary as we speak? If any one of them signs this document and the court says otherwise, and INEC says otherwise, in the long run, there is a problem. This will bring us back to the case of APC in Zamfara, where every member of the cabinet caved in, and then the PDP had to rule. The members of House of Assembly, all of them, were said to have gotten to power illegally, because the Congress that was conducted there was illegal. That was a problem. The governor, his deputy, they all had to vacate their positions, and then PDP took over. The same thing, something similar happened in Bayelsa. When Doye Diri became the governor there, it was the APC that won the election. That was David Leon at the time. Unfortunately, because of minor issues, they had to, I think, the mantle away from David Leon and give it to Doye Diri, who came second. Don't forget that it happened in Imo State, when back and forth cases, I think it was Emeka Ihedioha of the PDP at that time, and then it was this same governor, current governor of Imo State, who was the fourth on the ballot. I mean, after total votes count, it was fourth. But the court said, due to some issues with Emeka Ihedioha and how he got to power and some other people that followed him, the APC eventually became the governor. I mean, there is a lot of problem. If you don't get your internal politics right, it's eventually going to affect you. No matter how many votes you get during the election, it still does not count. If INEC don't recognize the chairman that signed your form, if they don't recognize the secretary that signed your form, if they feel like your party is in shambles, and that you cannot take care of your internal politics, and then there's a crisis, then you have an issue. The PDP, as it stands, they have an election coming up. There was a letter sent to INEC as regards the primary election to be conducted in Ekiti. That, this primary should be suspended for at least another 2 weeks. INEC sent a letter back to the PDP that we do not recognize this faction of the party.
Abdurrahman and
I mean,
Ayawu.
that's a problem.
There's no way INEC is going to recognize, that particular faction, honestly, because the way it is going now. I don't know if you saw a video where Turaki, the new national chairman, was calling on Trump to say, forget about, okay, there's genocide in the country, but apart from that, there's another thing you need to help us solve, and that's the issue of our democracy, because even Bala Mohammed, I had no idea that man is so... when I was watching the video,
talk.
It was intense. So honestly, there was a time he said, how can we be working for the PDP and still want to control the... working for the APC and still want to control the PDP? It's a sad one, actually. And the problem now is that because of the internal factions now, ideally, the Osun State primary is supposed to come up this December, around 15 or so. And then if PDP is unable to come up with a candidate at the primaries, then I'm not sure they can present any candidate for Osun State election. Now the party, they don't even know what is going on. They have two factions. Even I think the faction of Bala Mohammed, they are saying that they do not recognize any BOT because it is illegality. It's a problem. They're only talking about the NWC. So what is the fate of those governors now? And then one more thing that we need to talk about is the fact that Nigerians are complaining that if care is not taken, we might run into a one-party state. With what all these politicians are doing, are they not tilting towards one-party state? They will not give Nigerians options. Imagine if it gets to a point whereby PDP is unable to present a candidate for presidential election, like the main opposition party in the country, a party that came second in the last election.
I think that's exactly where we're heading to in Nigeria, and that's a big problem. And another thing you mentioned that I quickly want to talk about is the fact that the newly elected chairman of the PDP at the Ibadan Congress, let me put it that way, because some might disagree and might differ as regards that, made a statement. I consider that to be the most ridiculous statement you can make anywhere. I said, look, yes, we know we have insecurity crisis in the country, but Donald Trump should come and save us. I mean, this is a crisis within the PDP, not inter-party politics now. It is an intra-party kind of crisis, which you should be able, originally you should be able to solve on your own. I mean, I don't think Tinubu has a problem with the PDP, or Tinubu is the problem of the PDP.
Bala Mohammed even said that Tinubu should call Wike to order.
You can understand where that's coming from now. So it's not a Tinubu thing or the APC thing. Whatever APC is doing on the background to make sure that PDP is destabilized, it is the responsibility of the PDP to pick the bad eggs in the party and then put them away or put them somewhere and then restructure the party to give Nigerians an option ahead of the 2027 general election. I don't understand why Tinubu will be on the ballot and then the PDP that happens to be the most recognized political party in Africa at the point, the biggest political party in Africa at one point. I mean, that tells the story of how we have disintegrated as a country, especially politically. We are not growing. I don't see us growing in terms of politics. We have only been playing politics of interest. And when we play the politics of interest, it's only about the political interest of some political class and not the interest of the Nigerian people. Because I do not understand why the PDP cannot solve its own problems. And it took them this long to say, look, we want to expel some people from the party. So you don't know that Wike has been with the APC even before the election or even after the election. You all know all this. You know these facts.
Several occasions that I worked against the party.
And he said it time and time again on the national TV.
What else do you need?
What other evidence do you need that this person is having an anti-party kind of issue? Ayodele Fayose has made it clear he's been obnobbing with the governor of Ekiti and saying, look, he has a return for the next election. He's a member of the PDP. And the PDP is definitely, well, since they have a crisis that they might not have a candidate in the Ekiti election. But then, he's a member of the party, siding a candidate from another party, a sitting governor. That tells a tale of the anti-party he's been practicing. And nobody needs to tell you, don't need any other evidence than what he said on national TV to suspend him. So it didn't have to take this long. This
took them 2 more years.
2 more years. This should have been done a long time ago. So I just see the PDP as a joke as we speak. I'm really sorry if that hurts anybody, but PDP is a joke as of now. Because they knew what exactly to do before now. But then what took them so long? Were they, I think it was a kind of fear. The fear of Wike is the beginning of wisdom. That's what I see. Because it took someone somewhere to say, look, let's call his bluff. Let's do whatever it is we have to do. If it has to be, the governor Shemakinde made a statement in Abuja and said, look, if we have to be here for 1 week to make sure we restore the peace and the tranquility in the political party, we will be here and we'll make sure we get it done. And that, for me, is a statement that says, look, we want to make sure, regardless of if some other people are saying, look, he's desperate, he wants to be president, and that's why he wants to hijack the structure of the party, that, for me, is secondary. But the most important thing is put the PDP where it rightly belongs. A political party that can contest an election against an APC and give them a run for their money, even if APC is going to win. But now what do we have? I don't think before 2027 there will be no court case that says the PDP cannot field a candidate. I think where we are heading now is a battle to finish. And as you know, Nyesom Wike, it will not back down. I identify Oshes told similar Fubara something. I think it was at the dinner when Fubara was elected as governor. He said, I know him, avoid Wike, Wike will not back down, and don't try to offend Wike. So that's the problem now. I think that statement should be ringing in the head of every one of them now. But as it is Wike against some other people in the party. Then who has more legal backing as regards what they have done in the last 1 week will now be able to say, look, we have gotten to a stage where nobody will say whatever it is we do is illegal. But as it stands, the PDP is a shadow of itself.
Honestly, and it's very, very sad because I don't know what is going on with the opposition parties in Nigeria. I mean, talk about Labour Party, they also have their own internal
You can imagine at the point they had 3 chairmen. They had the Apapa faction, they had the Aburi faction, they had the Nadi Usman. I mean, how do you have three chairmen
that
in
kind
the
of
party?
problem. Talk about SDP too, they are so struggling. Talk about even the ADC, the coalition. Some persons came out recently to say, this person forged my signature. I was never part of these people should come to our party. All these opposition parties, I think the issues they are facing in their parties is a reflection of what is going on in Nigeria as we speak now. Look at what is going on. Insecurity is the order of the day. I read a story this morning that we're speaking about the KB, the girls that were abducted in KB. Some persons went after them and they were still ambushed. What kind of thing is that? Still talk about the attack in Kwara. A lot of persons, you see, it will take a lot to watch that video and still be sane for the rest of the day. It's a lot to unpack. And then these people are not even bothered about that. It's just we want to get our party back. Let's fight about democracy.
It's strictly politics for
sad.
them.
It's sad, honestly. I don't know how we got here as a country. And I don't know. There's much that the president can do because it's an internal affair. I just want to believe that. I mean, we have elders in PDP as it stands now that can actually call these people to say that let's solve this once and for all. For PDP to have peace, I'm sorry, maybe quite frankly, maybe there are some other persons that should be expelled.
Even in the party,
honestly, as it stands now, for that party to have peace, some persons will still have to leave. For the others to come together to say, okay, we are at this stage, but we can still build. Regardless of whatever it is that PDP have lost in time past, I think that party still has what it takes to fly again. Looking at the fact that they have strong grassroots presence and then the national outlook. But then, if there are internal crises, I don't know how the party can fly because Lawa Dauda, I think the governor of Zamfara, said one thing and I was able to hold on to that. He said the major problem of PDP is ego because all the top shots in PDP are not ready to step down to agree so that the party can work. He said that,
big men.
Honestly, he said that even in the last election, 2023, some persons said, okay, yes, we support the party, but they went there to work against the party. Does that make any sense? You're a member of the party and you will deliberately work against the party.
Mobilize for another political
party.
And
you will still come out. See, look at the level of impunity. You will still come out to the public on national TV to say yes.
I'm a member of this party.
I'm a member of that party. I've not left though, but I worked against the party and nothing happened in Nigeria 2025. It's sad though, honestly.
It's really sad. But just before we go, another thing that bothers me is the fact that when we are having serious crisis, there's always something that covers the surface and then people forget the crisis we are currently having. Do not forget that in the space of 1 week, ISWAP and let's say 2 weeks or thereabouts, ISWAP and Boko Haram were at loggerheads somewhere in Nigeria and the government did not know where they were or did not go there to actually nip it in the bud and just neutralize all of them at the same time. The body counts as at I think 6 p.m. on that particular period was said to have been around 200. Between these two, they were fighting for territory in Nigeria. That's one problem. Another thing is ISWAP admitted and posted a video of a killing of a serving general in Nigeria. Within that same space, nothing has been done. Nobody has been apprehended. That's another problem. 25 schoolgirls were kidnapped in Nigeria, in Kebbi State. Nothing has been done. The people that went after them were ambushed and killed. That's another problem. So that's a big crisis. A priest and other community members were abducted in Kaduna during the same period. And now they went to a particular church in Kwara
Kwara.
State, a CAC church. They went ahead, they kidnapped and maimed some people there. That for me is really disheartening. Within the space of 1-2 weeks, I mean, look at how massive a crisis we have on our hand. And we are talking about PDP, who is the secretary and who is the chairman of the political party. That's the distraction we are having in this country. And honestly, this should not be the case.
They are distracted, and it's sad though, because I don't know. I'm very sure now by now Trump is looking for another I don't know the word to call it now to describe Nigeria, because I mean, when we are trying to focus on how to tackle insecurity, all these political parties, they are dragging us back, trying to make sure that we are distracted. It's a sad one. We have something to face. Do you know all of these cases that you mentioned? They are the ones that we read in the newspaper. What about cases that we don't know about? People are dying daily in the interior part of this country. They are dying, and a lot of, it's not all that the newspaper will carry and then they will publish. It's sad. I don't know how we got to this place, honestly. Whether some persons are saying maybe at this point in time, our government should seek for international help. Maybe that's what can solve our problem. But then other persons will come up with an argument to say that don't allow these people into the country. They are coming for our resources. These are all of the things that we need to begin to talk about.
Nigerians are not even enjoying in the first place.
It's a sad reality.
It is better to save lives than hold on to resources that does not even benefit Nigerians anyway. And it's a really sad situation.
Honestly.
But I do hope that we'll get past it and Nigeria eventually will be great again. Well,
giant of Africa.
Giant of Africa will become a giant again. I mean, how does a giant become a dwarf all of a sudden? But then it's a case that will leave to the federal government to address. The president made a very bold move. It was to travel and then shelved his traveling and said, look, we have to be here together and solve things. Maybe for that reason, maybe more men will be pushed out in the Nigerian military to actually face the insurgency, and then we have more equipment for them, tools to get things done. But then it still baffles me that as at now, I don't think we have drones that spot where these people are.
But these people are drones, and they use drones to attack.
Well, we'll discuss this when our guest comes on the big story today. So that's one thing we want to look at. What exactly is the problem? Where did they get it wrong? And how can we correct these things before it becomes a problem? It is now becoming a trend. When an election is coming, then there is a crisis. And the serious crisis. There will be insecurity, and of course, you'll be wondering what exactly is happening in the country. The election is coming now, and then we are having a lot. Is it to push the president?
Too intense. I don't know.
Is it to push the president out of the country, or it's just a crisis that was created by some people and is now coming back to haunt them? We'll discuss that on the big story today. That's the convenient point to leave this morning. Let's take a weather report on this show this morning and see exactly what the weather looks like in some parts of the country, especially the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. And that's where we are starting from. In Ibadan today, weather currently feels like 25 degrees Celsius right here, and it is a little bit partly cloudy right here in Ibadan. And later in the morning it will rise about 4 notches ahead by 29 degrees Celsius, and of course it will be partly cloudy. It will remain partly cloudy in the afternoon at 34 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy in the evening at 27 degrees Celsius, and cloudy overnight at 25 degrees Celsius in Ibadan today. All
right, let's cross over to Ekiti this morning. Weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius, and later is expected to be around 28 degrees Celsius and mostly sunny around 2%. In the afternoon, 33 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. And in the evening, 25 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 16%. Overnight, 24 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 17%. That's what we have for Ekiti Southwest this morning.
Right, moving on to Ogun this morning, and that's Abeokuta South. Weather in Abeokuta currently feels like 25 degrees Celsius right there. It is currently mostly cloudy in Abeokuta, and later in the morning it will rise to 30 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy. It will remain partly cloudy in the afternoon at 34 degrees Celsius, and later in the evening it will drop to 27 degrees Celsius, mostly clear right there. It will be partly cloudy overnight at 26 degrees Celsius in Abeokuta today.
Well, let's cross over to Oshogbo, Osun this morning. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later this morning is expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, mostly sunny around 1%. In the afternoon, 34 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%, and in the evening, 26 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 6%, and overnight, 25 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 11%. That's where we are for Oshogbo, Osun State this morning.
Right, that takes us to the center of excellence. That's Lagos today. Weather in Lagos currently feels like 26 degrees Celsius. Currently fair right there. And later in the morning, it will rise to 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy. And it will remain partly cloudy in the afternoon at 30 degrees Celsius. It will drop to 28 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy in the evening, and 27 degrees Celsius overnight. Mostly cloudy right there in Lagos today.
Well, let's cross over to Ilorin this morning. Weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius and later is expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, sunny around 1% in the afternoon, 37 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0% in the evening, 29 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 1%, and overnight 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 8%. That's what we have for Ilorin International Airport, Kwara, this morning.
All right, from Ilorin, we move down straight to Suleja in Niger State this morning. And weather in Suleja currently feels fair at 22 degrees Celsius right there. And later in the morning, it will be sunny and rise to 31 degrees Celsius. Also sunny in the afternoon at 35 degrees Celsius. Wow, that's quite sunny. And later in the evening, it will drop to 26 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy. It will be mostly cloudy overnight at 23 degrees Celsius in Suleja, Niger State today.
All right, let's cross over to Kano Municipal this morning. Weather feels like 17 degrees Celsius and later is expected to rise to 28 degrees Celsius, sunny around 0% in the afternoon, 34 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. In the evening, 24 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 0% as well. Overnight, 19 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 0%. That's what we have for Kano Municipal this morning.
Well, I think I'll remain in the North Central a little bit more. That's the FCT, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And right now in Abuja, weather is currently fair at 22 degrees Celsius. It will be mostly sunny later in the morning at 31 degrees Celsius. Sunny in the afternoon at 35 degrees Celsius. It will be partly cloudy in the evening and overnight at 27 degrees Celsius and 24 degrees Celsius, respectively, in Abuja today.
Let's cross over to Port Harcourt Rivers this morning. Weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius and later is expected to rise to 27 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 19%. In the afternoon, 28 degrees Celsius, mostly clear around 12%. In the evening, it's expected to drop to 23 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 8%. And overnight, 22 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 11%. That's what we have for Port Harcourt Rivers this morning.
All right, I think that's all we can take on weather reports this morning. Let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll take the news. Don't forget to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. You can watch us live on our YouTube and Facebook channels at Dominion Broadcast. Do well to drop your comment there. We'll surely take them on this show. Now, let's go on a quick break. We'll be back after this time out.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. President Bola Tinubu has postponed his scheduled trip to South Africa for the G20 Leaders Summit as he awaits further security briefings from Vice President Kashim Shettima on the kidnapped KB schoolgirls and the attack on Christ Apostolic Church worshippers in Eruku, Kwara State. And this was disclosed in a statement by Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga. Tinubu also ordered the deployment of more security personnel to Eruku and the entire Ekiti local government area of the state and directed the police to go after the bandits who attacked worshippers. The directive was in response to the request by the governor of Kwara State. Meanwhile, youth in Eruku Ekiti local government area of Kwara State barricaded the Lori-Kaba highway in protest over Tuesday's night deadly bandit attack on the community, accusing security agencies of abandoning residents during the assault. The demonstration, which began early in the day, caused a major gridlock along the busy road, with dozens of trailers and commercial vehicles heading toward Kogi State being stranded as protesters lit bonfires and used stones and logs to block the expressway. Residents said the attack, which occurred during the church program, lasted almost an hour without any response from security operators stationed in the area. The Senate has waded into the long-standing leadership crisis at the Equipment Leasing Registration Authority, reopening investigations into the alleged unlawful removal of the agency's former acting chief executive officer, Saidu Njida. The crisis, which has festered since mid-2023, began after the federal government dissolved the governing boards of ministries, departments and agencies shortly after President Bola Tinubu assumed office. The absence of a clearly communicated transition or disengagement process deepened tension within ELRA, leading to accusations of arbitrary decision-making, stalled operations, and a spate of petitions from aggrieved stakeholders. The Senate panel adjourned the matter for 1 month to allow room for reconciliation, warning that a full-scale review would be launched if the parties fail to reach an agreement. Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has presented the 2026 appropriation bill totaling 1.3 trillion to the State House of Assembly. This was disclosed in a statement released by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Baturi Dawakin Tofa. Yusuf said the distribution reflects the administration's development priorities, with education leading at 405 billion naira, infrastructure at 346 billion naira, and health at 212 billion naira. In business, this morning, the World Bank has begun rolling out its new funds chain system, a blockchain-based platform designed to promote transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the management of development project funds. The global institution is starting the implementation with 6 projects, marking a major shift toward digital tracking of donor-funded interventions. The Accountant General of the Federation, AGF, Dr. Samsudeen Babatunde Ogunjimi, made this known in Abuja during a financial workshop for Accountants General, heads of project financial management units, and coordinators of World Bank funded projects. In response to this transition, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation said it has instituted a series of management reforms aimed at improving the financial governance of World Bank-funded projects across Nigeria. And in sports this morning, the management of Eyimba Football Club of Aba has said that it did not slash the salaries of its players by 50%. According to Eyimba management, no such punitive measures were taken against the players after their 0-1 loss to Wiki Torres of Bauchi. Eyimba management, while reacting to reports on social media, described the alleged slashing of player salaries as misleading. In a statement published on Eyimba's official social media page, the management of the former Nigerian and African champion said it's never initiated or implemented such salary reduction. According to Eyimba, the media house that circulated the alleged 50% salary slash did not verify the claims from the club's official platforms or management. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and X at Dominion Cast. And that's Daybreak News. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako saying thank you for watching and good morning.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako. I have with me in the studio this morning Lekon Shobowale, who is a journalist and a public affairs analyst. Welcome on board.
Good morning, Yemi. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Let's start from Nigeria News Direct this morning. I have this headline that says Nigerians react to fresh wave of insecurity, demand resignation of President Tinubu. As Atiku accuses Tinubu of coercing judges into political alignment. Nigerians, some, not all actually, are calling for the resignation of the president to say that, he's not been able to tackle this at all. Do you think that will solve the problem, or should we begin to look at how to actually, stop all of this happening in the country?
Well, for me, I've also watched some comments on the social media, and calling for the resignation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But I want to say that as much as the fact that the recent events in the last 7 days, they were so disturbing and very traumatized, but the resignation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not the solution to this problem. This will not be the first time that things like this have been happening in the country. In the last almost 12 years, we've been witnessing the drastic increase in the operation of these terrorists and bandits. But I think, oppositions will always be oppositions.
Okay.
If you are asking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to resign, so are you saying Vice President Kashim Shettima should take over? Shettima has also been, indicted by some section of politicians that, he has been the sponsors of some of these terrorists and bandits. So are you now saying the president and the vice president should resign? So who will now take over the affairs and the running of the country? So I think it is not all about President Tinubu to resign. It is time for us in Nigeria, for all of us to come together, and reason as one, and work assiduously and help our security agents, in order to find a lasting solution to this. In the last 7 days, over 200 people have been kidnapped. A lot of people have been killed. This should not be trivialized. This should not be politicized. This is not a time for politics. This is not a time to plan to talk 2027 election. This is a time to be a true and a patriotic Nigerian. If, for some of us that traveled, most times when we are going, when we are coming, it's always, Yoruba will say, fu ayafu. We are taking a risk. Yeah. And it's even getting to a level that for some people, I was reading something online this morning, and the pastor was saying that maybe churches will need to introduce an online service again, because...
What happened during the COVID time?
You understand that maybe some people will even have to start working from home, because of what? Because of the fear of these terrorists and bandits. So I think this is not the time to call for resignation of anybody. It is a time for us to come together and stand together as Nigerians and think of the possible ways out of this issue. So I don't subscribe to the fact that the president should resign. I can only appeal to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yesterday he suspended his trip to South Africa and Angola, just because of this. And the vice president also visited Kebbi State. They are doing all what they can. We can all see yesterday, even the Nigerian troops that were on their way to rescue the Kebbi girls were also attacked. Ambush were late for them, and some of them were attacked. And all this calls for a great concern from a serious-minded and a patriotic Nigerian. So this is not the time. It is time for political gladiators like former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to also come together and also, you should suggest ways through which Nigeria can, we can find our way out of this, and not to be calling for the resignation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If he's calling for the resignation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a lot of people will read political meanings to that, and I can tell you that that is not even helping the former vice president. Okay,
let's also look at this one. In the Punch newspaper, I have this one that says, Kwara Kebbi abductions, federal government blames U.S. as kidnap rate spreads. Really, are we supposed to be shifting blames at this point in time?
Well, what the Secretary of Government of the Federation, George Akume, was saying yesterday was that, we already have a kind of improvement, in the operation of our Nigerian troops. These terrorists are being degraded daily. But because of the tweets, the continuous tweets on the X of President Donald Trump, that he now categorized Nigeria as a country of great concern, and he's saying that, you know, the U.S. may be forced to deploy its troops, you know, to Nigerians. You know, that comment serves as an encouragement, you know, to these bandits and terrorists. That before now, you've not been seeing these, you know, terrorists in recent times. You've not been seeing these terrorists, bandits going into churches, you know, kidnapping and killing people. But because of the comments of President Donald Trump, you know, it's like a wake-up call to these terrorists and the bandits. And that was what George Akume was saying yesterday, that instead of these public comments, you know, the U.S. should find a way of supporting Nigeria. You know, it is not through deploying its troops, you know, through, you know, equipment, you know, intelligence and partnership, you know, in combating these menace of terrorism and banditry. So I don't know, but I think I'm also of the opinion that you know, the comments by the U.S. government, U.S. president to be specific, you know, shouldn't have, you know, been surfaced at all. You know, the comments, you know, in the last 2-3 weeks of that comment, you can see a whole lot of reactions, and so I think it is very important. One will have, you know, believed that President Donald Trump should have discussed underneath the Nigerian government and asked, what can we do to help you? Now this thing is getting out of hand. There was a time that the U.S. government came into Nigeria to rescue one of their citizens, and it was long after the operation that some of us were, you know, hearing that they came and they. So if they can do that, they can also come and assist Nigeria. What we need now in this country, it is not a blame game. You know, what we need is solution to this, because, you know, you cannot just imagine a brigadier general of the Nigerian army. Look at the way the man was executed. You understand that the man also had a wife and children. You know, you can imagine the kind of, you know, the kind of conditions.
Even the fear of his comrades to see that if a brigadier general can be killed in this manner.
So I think this is not a time for blame game. This is a time for action. You know, this is a time for Nigerians to seek help, you know, and not to be. Yes, yesterday, you know, some Nigerian delegation had a meeting with United States government, and, you know, so many things were discussed. These are the kind of news, these are the kind of development that, for me, I'm expecting from our leaders here, and not to be trading blames. It is U.S. government, it is U.S. president. Let us find a way out of this. Nigeria is in a very critical situation now, and we need help, and not for us to be, you know, saying it is the U.S., it is the president. So let us all come together and find a way out of this issue.
I think it's a fine place to leave at. I do hope that the girls adopted, you know, will be rescued soon, honestly. Still in Punch newspaper, I have a headline that says, Wike slams Turaki as please sue PDP secretariat. You know, as we are trying to battle with insecurity, I think PDP, you know, is in a dire situation. It was messy, you know, a total embarrassment to the country. What happened on Tuesday, you know, at the Wadata Plaza, and now Wike is slamming Turaki. Some persons are saying that maybe the convention shouldn't have happened. Some others are saying maybe Wike and the likes of Ayofashi should not have been suspended. While some persons are saying the expulsion, rather, you know, is what PDP needs at this point. What do you make of all of this, Billy?
Well, see, let me tell you, I can only wish the PDP well, but I never expected that this will degenerated into this mess. So let me tell you, the tenure of Damagu led National Executive Council ordinarily should have expired on December 8th. I don't see reasons why the PDP should not have waited till December 8th for their tenure to expire. And you can go ahead with whatever you want to. You know, today is November 20. You know, Anyawu is laying claim that they should allow him to see off his time. December 8, November 20, it's just a difference of almost 18 days. And aside from that, most of our politicians, most of our leaders, they are so careless and carefree that they don't respect the rule of law. 2 Federal High Court judgments that the convention should not go ahead. Very clear. And PDP, led by our Governor Sheyi Makinde, approached Oyo State High Court, and they gave an ex parte order. As a journalist, I'm not a legal practitioner, but as a journalist, I've worked with so many legal practitioners, conducting interviews, special reports, and I know that there is no way an ex parte order of a state high court can override a subsisting judgment of the federal high court.
So they should have gotten a higher court order.
You don't understand. See what the dispute is very simple. But sometimes I look at our leaders, look at what happened at PDP Secretariat 2 days ago. Very embarrassing. Look at the state governor, look at Bauchi State governor, look at very embarrassing. And even if I don't know, but I don't understand. In the judgment of the Supreme Court, Abure versus Labour Party, Supreme Court said the internal crisis of a political party, it is their business. There are no court of law in the land should intervene in the internal crisis of any political party. That judgment is there. I just keep wondering that why is it that what is the problem that the Damagu faction of PDP cannot just wait and just see out the December 8th expiration of Damagu-led faction, Damagu-led ESCO of the PDP. At the end of the day, the Federal High Court will still go back to the judgment of the Supreme Court, because there is always precedent, and the precedent is that no court of law should interfere in the activities of any political party. That was the judgment by the Supreme Court in the case of Labour Party versus Abure. So, if the Federal High Court gave a judgment that no convention for now, then you move to the appeal court. As a matter of fact, the case may not even get to the Supreme Court, because the appeal court will just go back to the judgment of the Supreme Court, and that will have laid the problem to rest. And all this that we are having now should not even come at all. So, Wike, Makinde, Bala, I don't understand. But, the painful thing there is that, they are saying Nigeria is heading to a one-party state. They are the one that is leading Nigeria to a one-party state. Because whatever the case may be, wait till December 8th. Let the tenure of this ESCO, let it expire by December 8th. Then you can do whatever you want to do. So with all these things that you are doing now, are you not leading Nigeria to a one-party state? Because when you are having 2 factions in your party, at the end of the day, any of your members that contested on that platform, it is very clear that is why Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State refused to show up, because he'll be running for an election next year, and he knows that there is no way he can run that election on the platform of PDP that he will not have a problem. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki said that any serious politician will not, how will I put it now? No serious politician will run on the platform of PDP as it is now. It is very dangerous. It happens in 2022 in the case of Zamfara APC and Zamfara PDP. Zamfara APC won all the elections, from House of Assembly to Governor to House of Reps to Senate. But in the judgment of the court said ordinarily the May Mala led interim ESCO have no power to conduct a primary election. And at that time, APC was being governed by May Mala Buni led caretaker ESCO. Then, You know, before the coming of Abdullahi Adamu, who was the former national chairman of APC. So the court used that instance, you know, to nullify the election of all APC candidates.
And Dauda Lawal came up.
And that was why you're having a PDP government in Zamfara State. One should have expected that would be a very good lesson to PDP. And that is the part PDP, that is the part they are doing now. So for me, I don't know the fate of Demola Adeleke in Osun State now.
There are claims that it might move to the APGA or maybe STP.
Should that
not
be?
Certain though.
But should that be the solution? Should that even be at all?
It's sad, really.
And you are saying that Nigeria is, you know, heading to a one-party state. Are you not the one leading us to a one-party state? If you cannot resolve the crisis in your party, it is so sad.
Honestly, I do hope they will find a way to resolve all of this before the next election. Let's talk about doctors now. Moving to New Telegraph, federal government and resident doctors suspend strike, 19 out of 20 demands addressed. And then I think recently Akpabio came out to say that Nigeria is not the only country with problems. Other countries also have problems. I watched a video about a week now where UK doctors came out to protest because of their demands. What do you make of this? 19 out of 20. Do you think it suffices, for the doctors to call off the strike and go back to work?
Yes, I think if our doctors, if they want to be patriotic enough, if you have 20 demands and 19 have been met, I don't know why they are still on that strike.
Don't you think it's because, they've faced situations in the past where the government will say, oh, these demands that are left, we are going to attend to it, and then the government, then attend to it.
The simple truth of the matter is that not all your demands can be resolved in one day.
Okay.
You know, like I used to say, it is not their fault, it is the fault of our political class. When you say our political class, when they show extravagance, when they display unnecessary wealth. So some of these labor unions always believe that we have more than enough, and it's as if our leaders don't want to pay attention to them. But the simple truth of it is that if you're having 20 demands and 19 has been resolved, then what is the essence of the strike? So, and that is where the issue of being patriotic is coming out from. Look at our soldiers. Look at the sacrifices they are making every day. Look at the way they are being killed every day. And because of that, they are not saying they will not still go back to Borno State. They are not saying they will not go to Zamfara State. And our doctors should be patriotic. Government cannot satisfy everybody. This is our country. We just have to. This happens in US, it happens in UK, it happens in Canada, it happens everywhere. So you cannot say you have 20 demands and government must be able to solve all the 20. It is not possible. If truly government has resolved 19 out of the 20, even if government has resolved 15 out of the 20, Nigerians it should be Nigerian first before any other thing. You are a Nigerian before you talk of you are a doctor or a nurse or a health worker. Or Nigerians should be patriotic enough. I want to advise and appeal to our resident doctors to please share their strike, and considered so many lives that will have been lost, in the days of their strike, and return back to work.
I think it's a good one, because the lives of the people must be safe. Before we go, on The Guardian, I have a headline that says 230 million Nigerians to unseat Tinubu, defecting governors. That's coming from El-Rufai. And some persons are saying, El-Rufai should go and have one place to seat, because it's not been at the forefront of the political scene over time. It was even suspended for 30 years from the SDP.
Well, the truth of the matter is that for me, I've had enough of all this El-Rufai thing, and as you can see, nobody is even talking about El-Rufai again. But Nigerian politicians, they always want to be relevant. You are saying 230 million to unseat Tinubu. How? What is the yardstick? Sometimes our politicians, they will just put their mouth and speak because they want to be relevant. It is not because what they are saying is true. Because they want to be relevant. When last have you heard of El-Rufai in the political scene of Nigeria? In the last 1-2 months, I have not read anything about El-Rufai, but maybe El-Rufai still want Nigerians to know that it still exists. So it comes up with over 230 million people to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, I can only wish him good luck in his political journey. But El-Rufai will not be the person that will tell us how many Nigerians will unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. God will spare our lives until 2027, and we will all be alive, and we will see as it will go in 2027.
Okay, I think it's a fine place to leave it this morning. Big thanks to you for being a part of this segment today. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with Liko Shobowale, who is a seasoned journalist and public affairs analyst. All right. A big thanks to the audience too for being a part of this segment. We need to take a short break now, and when we come back, we move on to big story. Samson Balogun is standing by. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakwa. I'm saying thank you.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Morning and welcome to the big story, where we dig beneath the noise to uncover the forces shaping our national security landscape. Today, we confront a grim reality. Kidnapping has evolved into a structured, profit-driven industry in Nigeria. What used to be sporadic criminality has matured into a sophisticated enterprise where human lives are traded for money. Negotiations are predictable, and ransom payments have become a parallel economy. With the president cancelling his planned foreign trip and issuing fresh marching orders to the military, the urgency of the moment cannot be overstated. But beyond the headlines, we must ask, how did ransom become a booming business in Nigeria, and what will it take to break this cycle? I am Samson Balogun, and this is the big story. The past week has revealed with stark clarity how deeply insecurity has sunk its roots into our national fabric. Across multiple states, violence surged almost daily. November 14, Plateau State bandits invaded communities in Mangu, LGA, leading to deaths and mass displacement. On November 15, this same year, Kaduna State, residents in Chekun axis were kidnapped in fresh night raids. Let's move straight to November 16th. In Kogi State, travelers along Okene-Lokoja route were ambushed with several abducted. 17th of November, Abuja suburbs, renewed attacks were recorded around Buhari and Kuje, heightening fears in the FCT, where the president resides. Those incidents and these ones are not isolated. They are indicators of a nationwide industry thriving on fear, profit, and systemic failure. Do not forget that even in Kwara State, there were crises. A CSC church was attacked and so many people were taken away. And the president has issued a strong marching orders to the military and security agencies, demanding immediate and coordinated action across all hotspots. His decision to shelve his scheduled foreign trip underscores the severity of the moment and his intention to personally supervise the national response. But beyond government reaction, public frustrations are rising sharply. Some Nigerians are now calling for the president's resignation. But we must ask, is that the real solution to all of this? Would a change at the top dismantle the networks, the informants, the financiers, and the economics that make the kidnapping profitable? Another pressing question is whether Nigerians are too distracted by political battles, losing sight of how unity is needed to confront a common enemy, but does not discriminate by tribe or party. And as the nation inches towards another election cycle, history nudges us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Do security crises intensify whenever elections draw near? It's a big question. Is it a coincidence, or does political tension create opportunities for criminal networks? That's another question. So today, on The Big Story, we dig deeper into how ransom became a booming industry and what Nigeria must do to end it. I have with me a seasoned public affairs analyst and a security expert with years of experience who has studied the security landscape in Nigeria and understands the nitty-gritty of what Nigeria has to do to get it right in the right. I have with me in the studio Dr. Kunle Okunla. Good to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Nigeria now has a parallel economy. It's a booming business, kidnap and ransom. Even the government pays bandits now.
Yeah.
We have seen government officials openly hobnobbing with bandits. Some of them even take pictures. They make videos. They negotiate.
That's right.
They go into the bushes. We have Islamic clerics and clerics who now hobnob with bandits, and nobody has said a thing. Sheikh Gumi, for example, he said he knows where they are.
Yeah.
He said they are Nigerian warriors in the bushes. They are warriors in the bushes. He has said that time and time again, and nobody has said a thing. A few days ago, he was invited to Lagos, where Islamic clerics were having a gathering. And this is a man that was being fingered to be one of the sponsors and financiers of terrorism and banditry in Nigeria. In fact, last year, he was banned from coming to Saudi Arabia.
That's right.
By the Saudi government.
Yeah.
And if the Saudi government can ban an individual,
Islamic
it's being
clerics.
celebrated in Nigeria.
Yeah.
How did we get here, Dr. Kunle Okunla? How did kidnap and ransom become a parallel economy and a booming business in the country?
The Nigerian state is gradually becoming a joke.
How?
A joke in the sense that what seems disgusting to other people from other nations is what we celebrate here in Nigeria. And it's quite unfortunate, how we get to where we are presently. Kidnapping is a business, a multi-billion-dollar business in Nigeria as of today. In fact, it is as if, there is no law in Nigeria against kidnapping.
Is there a law against kidnapping?
There is a law
and
against
of course,
kidnapping.
is there a law against ransom payments?
Section 364 of the Nigerian Criminal Code Act defines kidnapping as an act in which any person is unlawfully imprisoned by another person and takes him out, of his place to another place. It says it's unlawful imprisonment of any person within Nigeria in such a manner so as to prevent him from applying to a court for his release or from discovering to any other person the place where he is in prison. And according to Section 273 of the Penal Code, whoever kidnaps or abducts a person shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall be liable to a fine. And the law criminalizing the payment of ransom on April 27, the Senate, that's 2013, April 27, 2013, the Senate passed the Terrorism Prevention Act, Amendment Bill 2022-2023 into law and amended, Section 14 to read those. Anyone who transfers funds, makes payments, or colludes with an abductor, kidnapper, or terrorist to receive any ransom for the release of any person who has been wrongfully confined, imprisoned, or kidnapped is guilty of a felony and is liable to conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 15 years. So there is a law against kidnapping
in the first place.
And there is also a law against ransom payment. But the way things is being played in Nigeria is as if we don't even have law against it. Because for anybody that kidnapped anybody, the law says at least 15 years imprisonment. And if you make any payments of ransom, the law says you're going to get 15 years. All right. You discover that those who pay ransom, if found guilty, the term of imprisonment is even more than the kidnappers. The intention was, that the government or the Senate had at that time was that, let's make it so ridiculous, yes, in such a way that, ransom payment will not be encouraged at all, knowing fully well that if the kidnappers don't get money, they are losing their business. So if anybody is picked and the kidnappers, contact the families and the family are saying we are not paying anything, then, the kidnappers will be discouraged from making further attempt. But sincerely yours, there's another in Europe that says he who feels it knows it. And it's over Kalumo. If anybody is picked in one's family and there is no attempt, because from what we've been saying in the past, the government is actually doing little or nothing to help anyone that is kidnapped. So what would the family do? The family has to come up with the money, source for fund. There were times that the whole community would be gathering money, selling houses, selling properties in order to pay the ransoms. And sometimes the ransoms are paid, even the victims are killed eventually. So those laws are just there. They are not being obeyed even by the government. When the government itself is paying ransom, the government is paying ransom. Most of the free abductors that we've seen in time past, some of these leaders of kidnapping squad have been asked, and they said government pay ransom to them. Government has a legal person, that goes from the government to the terrorists or the kidnappers, to negotiate.
They have a negotiator.
An
official negotiator.
Official negotiator, thank you. In the person of Gumi, government has that. These 25 girls that have been abducted from Kebbi State, government secondary school girls, Gumi is involved. And before you know it, they will come up with some money, So that's why I say Nigeria is becoming a joke. It's becoming a joke. All the
we are fighting terrorism, we are fighting kidnapping, banditry in Nigeria. To me, it's becoming a lipstick with the revelations that are coming out, especially after Donald Trump threatened that, if Nigeria does not do anything about the genocide, going on in Nigeria, that they're coming. There's so many revelations that are coming out. The other time, this foremost human rights lawyer, what's his name now? Not Gani Fawemi, Femi Falana. Femi Falana came on here, and called out Sheriff that you are the one that brought Boko Haram to Nigeria, and he gave details. Okay, when you wanted to become governor, you went to these people and said, come and help me, and whatever you want, I will give you. And those people did everything, to make sure that Sheriff became the governor of Borno State at that time. And eventually, they came and said, fulfill your promises. He even made 2 of them, commissioners.
In his cabinet.
And they were asking for more. And Sheriff said, oh, you guys are not educated. Even the ones that made commissioners, I have to put spokesperson. And they said, now you know that we don't have we are not educated. But you know that Boko Haram literally mean Western education is haram. And you came to us for help, right? And that was how the Sheriff, according to Femi Falana, went to the military, and the military, went to the Boko Haram and killed them en masse. And when they were killed en masse, then they left the town and went to the bush to regroup. That was the genesis of Boko Haram in Nigeria. And Femi Falana was saying, Sheriff, if you have any other thing to say, come out and challenge me. Take me to court. The following day, Sheriff came out and said, it's not me. All the narratives of Femi Falana, they are not true. Okay? The person that actually brought Boko Haram to Nigeria is Shetima.
The sitting vice president.
Who
the president said was going to handle insecurity.
Yes.
While they were campaigning.
And he gave pictures. Obviously, I'm saying that on the
There are pictures on the internet where Shetima was actually
sitting with the bandits, discussing, eating and dining. And that is our vice president. So what are we talking about? There
was a time a particular terrorist was arrested. That was Kabiru Sokoto.
Yeah.
Eventually, he escaped, but he was found at the house of a bigwig in Nigeria.
Yeah.
A terrorist found in the house of a politician.
What happened? Some guys were apprehended at the United Arab Emirates, for funding terrorism in Nigeria. And when they were done in the trial, they mentioned names of people, even in the cabinet of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. All right? And we felt that at that time that, boom, this is the time that terrorism is going to be ended. Up to today, nothing happened. There was a man, his video resurfaced on the internet in the wake of the Donald Trump threat. He was the leader of the CIA, and he was giving details of names of people that have become governors, that have become senators, that were the financiers of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Said they submitted this list to the president. Nothing happened. That's why I'm saying Nigeria is becoming a joke. You can't prevent what you permit. It is not possible. All right. And these days, even our president is being indicted. There is a video on the social platforms now of a woman, one Ajia Muhammad, that said, call out that president, that Tinubu come and deny this if this is not true. Tinubu called for an appointment, a government appointment. All right, she's from the Northeast, and she said she's not taking the appointment. All right, Tinubu was in London, according to her. Said Tinubu called her, come and join me in London. Why will you reject my appointment? I will pay your ticket. Said, my president, don't worry, I can afford to pay ticket, but arrange for the hotel. And, she went. And they were having a meeting, recorded. They were having a meeting. And she asked, when Tinubu asked, why are you rejecting my appointment? She said, I cannot take your appointment until I know what you have for my people in the Northeast with all these killings. To stop the killings. And Tinubu, according to us, said I cannot fight terrorism in Nigeria. If I do, they will kill me.
And after the allegation, the president has not come out to debunk.
Says 2 or 3 weeks ago that the video has been on the, a social platform. There has not been any attempt by the government to
debunk,
to debunk it. It's there, and so many things happening, and it's making us to feel like fools. All right, here is a government that is allocating 12.5% of the overall budget, to fighting insecurity. All right, amount greater than any other money allocated to any other infrastructures, education, health, whatever. And we're getting to know that this is all in vain. They're just lip saying.
You saw what happened in Eruku, in Kwara State. Let's see a video, a very short video of what happened in Eruku, where a CAC church was attacked by bandits in Kwara State. That's, for me, is an issue that really needs to be addressed. The bandits are encroaching very quickly. Let's see the video and see what they were having a service. A church service was ongoing. Welcome back. That was the clip of a live streaming of the church service that was going on. They called them live. The Nigerian people in a church, they were running helter-skelter. No help was forthcoming. They didn't even know where to run. They were running into a room and then coming out again. Nowhere to run. They were boxed into the four walls of the church. No help was forthcoming. If they knew help was coming, probably they would have held on a little bit longer. But they succumbed. Some of them succumbed to the cold hands of death. Some of them were taken away. You saw a video afterwards where people were being taken to the church cemetery to be buried.
It's quite pathetic. What we are witnessing in Nigeria presently, is worse than a genocide. I don't care whether it is Christians or Muslims that are being killed. As far as people are being killed, there is no reason why people should be treated the way, see that old woman.
She didn't even know where to go.
I saw the full video.
She was confused.
The one that was shown was towards the tail end. I saw the full video, showing the congregation, all right, and how they were killed. They're putting guns in the head of women and shooting because they were making noise. And they went after and they ransacked all their bags. They took away.
Took all the phones.
The following day, reporter went to the city. It was a ghost place. Everybody fled the city in the fear of terrorists. And we have government, we have military, we have the police. These people, they operated for more than 2 hours and there was nobody. When even a military general, brigadier general, what's his name? Brigadier Mohammed Uba, was captured and gruesomely killed by ISWAP. You know, this before, when the bandits, the kidnappers, when they operate like this, they always want to hide their identities for some time, you know, and before they reveal that we're the one. But these days, they make videos. Most of these videos that you see on the social media, they are made by the bandits themselves, by the terrorists, and they release it, even showing their faces, for you to know that there is nothing that the government will want to do. All right, there is a video I saw that is being narrated by Dr. Bashir Kofi, you know, in Katsina State. All right, the Assistant Commissioner of Police in Katsina State, Aminu Dahi, you know, was encircled by the terrorists. It probably sold out, allegedly.
A police
assistant commissioner of police
was brutally murdered in his own office.
He was murdered in his own office, you know, given up by his own people, you know. And after he was killed, the leader of the terrorist group took his uniform and wore his uniform, and there was celebration all over Katsina State, you know, that they have killed this man because he was giving
They consider him an enemy.
An enemy.
And he was trying to forestall, to bring peace to the society.
A week after, the Katsina State government was having, you know, a peace talk with the bandits like they used to do. And the bandits were giving orders to the government that we don't want any police that will be there to be in uniform. And the government said, it's okay, all right. And during the day of the meeting, the terrorists came, and the leader of that terrorist group was putting on the uniform of the slain Assistant Commissioner of Police, and the name tag was there, ACP Aminu Dahi. And they sat down there and they were having meeting, and they were even they were sharing soft drinks and refreshment, and he was putting on the uniform, and the police there, the government's representative there, knows that this is the uniform of the Assistant Commissioner of Police that was killed. Do you know what it takes to rise to become the Assistant Commissioner of Police, and was gruesomely killed? A brigadier general, you know, Mohammed Uba, was captured, and when I saw the video, I could not watch it. You know, they put the gun on his head, and they said, "You've been troubling us," and they fired him. They killed him. Brigadier general, a general. In some other nations, all the military will go after them and make sure they wipe them out. What do we see? Go after them.
If a general was murdered in cold blood, what's the face of an average Nigerian?
Oh, that is what I'm saying, that Nigeria is becoming like a joke. You know, it used to be northeast, then northwest, then north central. Now in Kwara State. Tomorrow, God forbid, you know, what assurance do we have that your state is safe? Or Osun State? Or Delta State? There's no assurance. All right? And it appears as if the president is helpless, the army helpless, the police helpless. So who will help the people? And number one priority of any responsible government is to safeguard the lives and properties of the people.
Dr. Okunla, before I ask you, what is the driving force behind a booming business in the kidnap and ransom industry in Nigeria? Let's listen to General Wahid Musa and what he had to say as regards insecurity in the country. We'll be back shortly.
The enemy to bring into gaps between us. Boko Haram started because we protected them. They started as a small group, and if it had been nipped in the bud, we probably wouldn't have gotten to where we are today. The Lakrawas came in, we brought them in, and we said they are our friends and their families until they started attacking us. The message here is, when you grow a monster, he grows beyond you and wants to take more from you. So we must learn to say no to monsters. Any evil one that means that is planning any evil against this country must never ever be supported, because it is the silence of the majority that gives them that opportunity to grow to who they become. The people must be part of the solution. I always want to remind people that the citizens, that the terrorists survive within the communities. If we allow them, they will thrive. If we disallow them, they will never survive. First and Second World War are very clear. When citizens stood up against the enemy, they didn't give them food, they didn't give them fuel, because sometimes you sit down and think, 16 years we've been fighting Boko Haram, how have they been surviving? Who has been funding them? These are questions we should ask ourselves. Where are they getting the fuel they're getting? They're getting from us. We have commercial drivers that will go and take full tank, go out, go and siphon fuel and give them. Sometimes they have pre-arranged locations. They siphon fuel in jerrycans, dig holes and drop it and phone them and tell them where they fuel. These are the people that keep them going. So why are we doing this to ourselves? What is the motive? Are you going to be happy if your country fails? You want to be a refugee or an IDP somewhere else? Those are questions we must be able to ask and answer. This is why forums such as this are invaluable. They provide a platform for citizens to receive.
All right, welcome back. Dr. Kunle Okunla, you heard what the general said.
It's even good now that the military, they are confirming what we've been saying for a long time. That
Are the people also part of the problem?
Yeah, the people are part of the problem. You know.
How do you help people who don't want to be helped?
The point is that the help has never been available to the people. You know, and so in some of those communities, I was privileged to go on a tour of some of those communities some time ago, and I realized that the reason why they're siding up with the terrorists was because they find help, even with the terrorists, than with the government. Some of those communities are, you won't believe they're part of Nigeria, abandoned, there is no infrastructure.
Ungoverned.
They are ungoverned, okay? And so when the terrorists come, when they come to them, they tell them, we will help you. The last peace talk that, they had with the terrorists were asking that, in some parts of Borno State, let there be school, let there be the health, health centers and things like that. And you ask yourself, is it for the terrorists? Maybe they are trying to help the people in that community. The terrorists live inside the forest, but they're asking for hospitals and schools in those communities. So there has never been help available for the people. That's the main thing. Look at the video we just watched of the Eruku killings. Where is the help there? Where is the help? And more often than not, it is after the terrorists or the kidnapped are finished operating. It doesn't matter how long, 2 hours, 3 hours. That's when you will see the siren of the police and the military. And people feel that, are they working together? Is there synergy? Is somebody saying we're here, wait, and when they're gone, there's a phone call that you can come around, and after that is the marching order from the president. Why don't we prevent this from happening? Why is it that it's after things have happened that we normally
Dr. Kunle Okunla,
come in?
What are the driving forces? I don't want to say a driving force.
Yeah.
What are the driving forces behind this multi-billion-dollar parallel economy that we currently have in Nigeria?
The number one driving force is money. And it's not just small money. It's a lot of money. Most of those guys that you see carrying AK-47 in those churches, they are not the real kidnappers. The money that they're going to collect, they just get little amount. The big amount is going to their godfathers, and their godfathers are in the military, they are in the police, they are even in the government. That's number one driving force. Number two, people play politics with anything in Nigeria, even with human lives. You understand? And so there have been times when some statements was made by the former president when Jonathan was there, that will make the state ungovernable for you. And it was quite ungovernable, for him.
There was a are you familiar with this particular statement?
Yeah.
That the hunter and the baboon will be soaked in blood.
The hunter and the baboon will be soaked. Yes. You know, that if you want to fix Nigeria, you know, we'll deal with you also. We will deal with you also. So most of
that statement was made by a presidential candidate at the time. Eventually became a president in the country. And some are saying that whether passively or actively, he knew about the insecurity crisis in the country, he just couldn't do or fix anything.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan came up and said that the scar of Chibok girls' captivity will stay with him, you know, throughout his lifetime. And he said the attack, the kidnap, was arranged. He said it's in the public domain. It was arranged by President Muhammadu Buhari just to discredit his government. That he knew. But my question is, why didn't you talk?
Take it up.
Why didn't you take it up? You know, there are people that even the presidents are feared, that they fear in this nation, that they know that if they don't do their bits, they will be killed. You know, a lot of people have said it. Former president, you know, Babangida said it, you know, in his book. So why didn't you announce MK when you know that he won? Say, I know that he won the election, but if I did, they will kill me. Who are the day? You know, Tinubu said that if I fight insecurity, they will kill me. Who are the day? You understand? And many other presidents like that.
Are there people more powerful than the president?
There are individuals like that in this nation.
Stronger than the president?
There are individuals like that in this nation, and they are very, very few. You know, so you are a president unless you are willing to step on toes. But most of the people that we have as presidents, they are not willing to step on the toes of these so-called godfathers. You know, so those are the main driving force, you know, for kidnapping, and it's upsurging now, and it will keep on increasing because now we know that the present government cannot really do anything about it. All right, and these people are getting emboldened every day to the point that they are making videos of their events and throwing
even showing monies on social media.
They're showing it. They're sharing money. You know, the Army General was saying that, you know, if there was a time there was no fire in Nigeria, everybody was queen. You know, there was an attack by ISWAP then, and they went with this wagon car, about 50.
All fuel.
All fuel. Where did they get the fuel from? The food they eat. Where is it coming from? Who supplied the food? Who supplied water? You know, one of the ways that many nations have won war, it happens in the Second World War, Third World War, of winning war, is to cut off the food and water supply.
It happened during the Civil War in Nigeria.
Yes, cut off the food and water supply. People will starve. They will come out, you know. Who is supplying them? Who is giving them? I saw a video recently, was it 2 days ago? All right, 3 helicopters landed in a particular place, and the man was saying...
in the middle of nowhere.
And the man that was doing this was saying, you know, you will see the Boko Haram people will start coming. And they came out, and they were shaking hands with this, and they were carrying, you know, bags of drugs, water, you know. And after 3 helicopters, and they left. Where are those from? You know, the airways, they are monitored. There are agencies that are responsible for monitoring the airways. Didn't they see that? Didn't they notice that this thing is coming? The man said that's how they come regularly. You understand? You know, there are people, in my own opinion, that even the law of this nation cannot touch. And it's quite unfortunate.
Unfortunately, there's a lot to unpack on this show, but we don't have such time on this show this morning. And I think this is one topic that really needs to be revisited.
Tinubu should do something about it.
If you're advising the president right now, very quickly, 30 seconds, what would you say to him?
I would tell Tinubu, stop the damage control speeches. Stop the tantrums aimed at foreigners. Secure the people. Disarm the militias. Prosecute the criminals. If your forces can't bring in professionals under strict oversight, but do something.
Thank you, Dr. Kunle Okunla, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
We have to go. And as we wrap up today's big story, one fact remains unshakable. Nigeria cannot win this battle until insecurity stops being profitable. The ransom economy feeds on desperation, weak intelligence, political distraction, and institutional shortcomings. With the president staying back to coordinate security operations and the military under fresh directives, a window for change exists. But it will take more than others. It will take consistency, sincerity, and a national alignment of purpose. Regardless of politics, ethnicity, or election cycles, the safety of Nigerians must stand above every other consideration. Until then, peace remains a distant dream. Stay with us. Samson Balogun is my name. Up next is Trend Watch. We'll be back after this time out.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice where inspiration meets entertainment. Now we go straight to Trend Watching this morning, and Oluwayemi Adelakun is here with me in the studio. Welcome back.
Thank you, and I'm back to be here. I'm glad to be here, Baba. And well done. Okay, so the story I have this morning is saying, shame on you for lying. You're a disgrace. Tuga, that's Canadian politician, had a clash, in a heated argument or interview with Piers Morgan. And this is the background to the story. Allow me to take you through the background. You said there was an interview with Piers Morgan and a certain Canadian politician, her name is Gamani, and then the Minister of Foreign Affairs for Nigeria, that is Yusuf Tuga. And then during that interview, Piers brought out an argument to say that he brought out a report from the International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law into society, claiming that over 50,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria since 2009 and 18,000 churches destroyed. And Tuga was like, no, this is not possible. This figure that you are bringing to the fore is not correct. In as much as, Christians are being killed in Nigeria, Muslims are being killed, and even other people that do not even belong to a particular religion. But then this figure that you have brought to the fore is wrong. And then Pierce had to bring in Gamani, who is a politician. He brought her in on the discussion, and then she came, and then I think that was where the whole problem started, because Gamani was like, looking at the kind of, people that even rule us, because she mentioned that we have a Muslim ticket in Nigeria. The president is a Muslim, and that the vice president is a Muslim, and she thinks maybe it might be, part of what we are, experiencing in Nigeria. Maybe that's why, the Christians are being sabotaged or the likes. But then Tuga was able to say that, no, regardless of that, it's a secular state, and then whether we have a Muslim ticket, it doesn't matter, because the president is from the southwest, and then the vice president is from the north. And then because it's a secular state, it depends on who can do the job, not really, we must have, it's compulsory for us to have a Christian and a Muslim on the ballot. So this is what happened actually. And of course, it has caused a lot of reactions, not just in Nigeria, but, outside Nigeria, because the interview, had to do with, someone who is not from Nigeria, and of course, the Canadian, politician that also came on the interview, definitely. So it's actually very sad. I don't know the extent at which we are going to wash our dirty linen outside to see that, this happened. And I don't believe that a lot of persons will have access to this interview to watch it. I don't know, honestly.
You see, it's really a shame that what we are trying to do, instead of talking about industrial advancement and technological development in the country, we're having to deal with polishing the image of Nigeria out there, especially in the face of terrorism and banditry. I mean, it's really shameful. This is not the space where Nigeria should be right now, with the level of resources and the human capital deposited in the country. I think we should be way ahead of this kind of discussion. But hey, unfortunately, that's where we are. And if you look at the whole argument, Suga is just trying to say, look, what you say, you are sitting at the far end of the table and having a discussion about what you don't even know. You have not been here, you are not here, you don't know the figures yourself, you are just reading what you find on social media or what you find online. And this is totally different from the situation, because we are here and we know what exactly is going on. I beg to differ anyway. It's not just about Christians being killed in Nigeria. Muslims are also being killed. People who don't believe in any of these two faiths are also losing their lives on a daily basis. So we cannot really pin it down to Christian genocide or whatever. But yes, we must understand the fact that at one point or the other, churches were attacked. But we have seen mosques being attacked too. So when mosques were attacked, were there Christians in the mosque? No, they were Muslims who were observing their prayers. So we must all understand, one thing we must do is to stop pinning this issue on religion. We should not pin it on ethnicity. We should look at it holistically and say Nigerians are being killed. And once we address it that way, we'll find what we can call an headway. But until that is done, I think what we'll be discussing is religion. What we'll be discussing is ethnicity. And what we'll be discussing will be things that will make us lose focus of the current challenges we have in Nigeria. I think we are losing focus already. We said it earlier on this show that we are already talking about who is the chairman of the PDP, who is the secretary, when people are being killed in their numbers in the northeast, in the north central,
look at
the northwest.
Between a former president of this country and a former governor. I mean, a lot of persons got distracted by that. You belong to the zoo, I don't belong to the zoo, you are irresponsible, and this and that. When we have serious issues to talk about in the country.
I mean, our discussion now should be issue-based and not based on just religion, because I think that is a distraction. What we can do if we feel like okay, we need help from outside, I think the president knows where to go, he knows what to do. But it looks like the issue of insecurity is becoming more and more of a bigger problem for Yusuf Tuga to handle, because when you are trying to create a different outlook for Nigeria out there, and then you are getting the story about kidnappings at home. I mean, it becomes difficult for you to do.
How do you even explain some certain things?
I mean, I'm sure Tuga is tired right now of trying to, paint Nigeria in a different light out there. But each time he goes out there to say something about Nigeria, before he gets back home, there's a security crisis somewhere that needs to be handled. So it's clear now that we have a challenge. Stop painting it like nothing is happening. I mean, stop under underreporting the figures. Yes, we understand that the way we put our country out there is the way we will be accepted.
And let's not make religion, you know, the problem, because religion is very addictive, and if care is not taken, we might take our attention away from the real thing that we're supposed to tackle, which is insecurity. Recently, I think No Ribadri had a meeting with Riley Moore, and then certain things were discussed, and I just want to believe that, you know, something good will come out of that meeting at the end of the day, and we can move forward, you know, in terms of tackling what we need to tackle in terms of all this insecurity.
No country is an island. So most of the time, even the US seek for help. Even the China as a country, they seek for help too, in terms of whatever it is they need, even if it comes to resources and some other things. So it's not about we can do it alone. If you need help, you can always call for help. I mean, the government knows exactly what to do at this time. But then that's the place we will leave it. The president should address the issue. He has suspended his trip abroad just because he wants to make sure he's on ground to oversee whatever it is going on now. But then let's see what the result will look like at the end of the day. And this will be the convenient point to draw the curtains on today's edition of Daybreak Live. Join us again tomorrow on Daybreak Live Extra. There's always an extra. Tomorrow is Friday anyway, and then we are going to do the TGIF on the show. But then do not forget that as the days are not slowing down, the stories too, they are not slowing down. Of course, do your part. Make sure that you make Nigeria the country you love to live in. When you say something, say something. Samson Balogun is my name. Until tomorrow, I say keep being good out there, keep being safe. Bye for now.
Well, thank you for being a part of the show. Just like you mentioned, do well to be a part of the Daybreak Live Extra tomorrow. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakwa, and regardless of all the distractions around you, ensure that you're safe. Bye for now.